Hi everybody, this is Sam with Python Basics, and today's video is going to be the second part of, so you've started an introduction to Python class, and what we're really going to dive into is what you're probably feeling right now about a month into the class. So you've read and studied and you've seen Python code and it makes sense when you're doing it, but then when you get a new problem, it just makes no sense. So we're going to talk about pseudocode. So what is pseudocode? It's basically layman term instructions that then you can understand and draw out to accomplish your goal, and then you take that and turn it into a programming language. So let's just kind of look at this. So I like using these 9 dots for you to really understand. So if you were to be given this question, write an algorithm to have repeatable code to walk over all 9 dots. And let's say you start right. So some people go, okay, we can do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. But what I'd like to point out, yes, you accomplish that task, but is this a repeatable pattern? So what I want to draw attention to is everything when you're writing code or an algorithm, you want it to be repeatable. That enables a program to do a task over and over and over again. So let's say here's your starting point. So you come down here, you walk, you turn around, you walk back up, and I want to point out you're basically in the exact same spot you were just a moment ago. So then you come back here, here, turn, 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 and back. So we have basically 4 sets of instructions. Walk forward, turn right, move forward 2 spaces, turn 180 degrees, walk forward 2 spaces, turn right. And you are in the exact same position, just 1 column over right here. Now, this one's a little bit more complicated, and our third one is going to be the most complicated. But you want to understand repeatability. And we've talked about this for a long time, and I'm only really beginning to understand the best ways to explain this and what I really want this channel to do. Here's a perfect example of you're given a string and you want to find the longest substring and in ascending or equal character order. So the next character has to be further down the alphabet than the previous character. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way through Z. So now here's one substring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's one length. All right. Then we look again. Okay. A, C, E, G, I, K, L. All right. So here's another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I would want to find a way. How can I say that? So then we need to break this out. Then I have this here. So we have pointers and a counter. So we start here, we move through, and you can loop through. But what the really big step is, I need to understand what I'm literally doing. So whenever I get a new problem, there's actually one that I'm working on right now for work, and I have drawn this out literally on my dry erase boards. And then what we did is that was the prototype. Then me and my teammates, what we did is we figured out how many scenarios there were going to be. 24. There are 24 scenarios. So now what I did is we loaded all those up into an Excel spreadsheet. And then what we did is we went through each decision. What would happen in each of these situations? And then we answered them. So I had another column. So then what I've done, what my job is to what patterns are there that are repeatable, that I can write a condensed piece of code which will handle every single condition to get us the results that we expect. That's what the first step is, and I'm sure that's where you're kind of stuck right now. So I don't want you to be scared about this. I want you to understand what you need to be doing. So here is a really great question. I was posed this 2 weeks ago in the Discord server. So if you haven't joined Discord down below, make sure you're jumping over there, because that is the fastest way to get an answer that you're concerned about. You can post it in the comments, but the problem with that is I'm the only one who sees the comments. On Discord, we have several hundred members over there, and someone is always online and is more than happy to help you with your question. So, all right. So here is the actual question that somebody posed, and it's been a while, so the test is over, so I feel comfortable talking about it. But it was a test question, and I gave some guidance, but I didn't give an answer, because taking the pseudocode from this over to Python is not simple. But you need to understand what the pseudocode is. So this was the example of stadium seating. And it's a very interesting question, and I liked it quite a bit. It was a great thought exercise. So, all right, zeros is an empty seat. 1 is an occupied seat. So if you were given, you're given the size of these dimensions in a list, then you're given in the number of people in your group. And what you need to derive an algorithm that can count how many groupings of n. So here's the perfect example. The answer is, for n, the answer is 16. So how in the world do you get 16 out of this? Well, once you wrap your head around the problem, then you're able to see the solution, and then in pseudocode, then convert it over to how can I do this with Python. So all right, a group of 3. Understand the problem is step 1. So 3 zeros side by side, not on a diagonal, but side by side. So here's our first group. Then what you want to think about is, well, if I'm just counting these, we're not going to get 16. So it is overlapping. So when we come through here, that's not a good one. That wasn't a very good circle. There we go. There we go. Okay, boom. So here's the beginnings of your pseudocode solution. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there are 16 different scenarios of where 3 people could sit in this stadium right here. So let's think about how in the world we would write this in pseudocode. So I need a list. This is how I went, where my brain automatically goes. So I have a group, okay, groupings. The tools we have are lists. So I'm going to compare a n length. So I'm automatically going to create a length of zeros in a group of 3. So a list of 3 zeros. Then I'm going to iterate through here, my starting point. Then I'm going to have that length of whatever starting point I have be the length of n and see if they match up. So when I checked position, so if this, first we have to understand, this is an array. Or another way to put it, a list of lists. So I'm going to iterate through this first, then through here. So an X and a Y. So you have, let's go back one. So we have to loop through here because it's a list of lists, and then loop through here. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So you use your size of the grid or your array. Then as you iterate through here, you know you're checking length of n. So this is actually a variation of a static sliding window problem, but you don't have to understand that to talk about this. So you're checking 1, 2, 3. Is 1, 2, 3 0, 0, 0? So you're going to have a comparison, and then it is or it isn't. And then if it is, you're going to count. If not, you're going to continue on. Then you're going to check this one, then this, this, and this. So what the trick is and what the challenge is how do we get our human mind that can very easily come here and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. How can I translate that into Python? So what I recommend is the step between pseudocode that nobody else talks about, that has taken me basically 8 years to wrap my head around to be able to explain this like this. So I am checking 3 numbers in this list. are these three, or whichever three, as I iterate. So I'm going to be doing these in groups of 3. So how would I get a pointer to check this one, and this one? That's one of your first steps. Then I compare it, do some sort of comparison, then compare that to 0, 0, 0. So in probably a week or so, we're actually gonna walk through this, and I've taken this to the next level so you can really understand. When you understand a problem, you can write very sophisticated code. So I've written code that actually printed out in 11 lines the actual seat numbers. Do not feel overwhelmed. What you want to do is, 1, make sure you understand the problem. What is the problem? How am I, with our human brain, making a decision to count these 16 groups? So then the next step after that, how can I translate my decision-making process, my pseudocode, into Python? That is actually the hardest step. But the more you understand Python and the more you understand how you're making your decision, the easier it is. And it's just practice. It's just like everything else. I know this is a very lengthy video today, but this channel is to help you overcome any of your concerns, your fears, any of those type things. Please, please, please make sure you're dropping any comments. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, the notification bell, and make sure you're jumping over there to Discord so you're not alone and we can help you out with any and all questions that you have. But as always, guys, I can't tell you thank you enough. All of my subscribers are just amazing, and I just want to say thank you. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. I hope you really enjoyed today's video. And if you haven't, check out this video right here or this one right down here. And most important, make sure you're hitting this subscribe button and the notification bell. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Bye guys.